we are going to have our first panel discussion, which is about the importance of textile raw materials and future trends. So the moderator for the panel discussion is Mr. Iqbal Khurram, CEO YS Group Pakistan. So can please we have you on the stage? Mr. Richard Lang Clarke, Vice President, Cotton Council International, USA. Mr. Roger Gilmartin, Managing Director, TriBlend Consultants, USA. Professor Dr. Asif Ali, Vice Chancellor, M.N.S. University Agriculture, Multan. Dr. Shafique Ahmed, Regional Director, Pakistan and Central Asia Better Cotton Initiative. Okay, and next participant is Mike Rodriguez. Thank you. So please come on the stage. Let's begin our first panel discussion.
Welcome everyone to this great event, and first of all I'm in this industry for the last 15 years and I'm very proud to see these kind of events are being hosted here because it gives the industry specialists some deep insight from the people who have flown from all over the world, and it is good that Pakistan is being recognized as one of the leading exporters of cotton and other materials, and it's amazing. Now this panel discussion that we're having today is on the importance of raw materials and future trends. Now we all know for a spinning mill or for any industry, the input cost is very important because in this moment in time, any country for any product is competing with each other, especially for a spinner or for a textile industry in Pakistan, we are competing with Bangladesh, competing with China, Vietnam, India. So it is very, very important that input cost is controlled, and especially the cotton, it constitutes of 70% of that cost for us. So it is very important that the decision makers are aware of the challenges and they should take good care of their cotton input costs. Other than that, we will also be discussing the impact of US-China trade war. Very good presentations by Will, Roger, and Richard already, so we'll discuss deep into that. Other than that, we'll be looking into the future of sustainable cotton production. And lastly, we'll also be discussing about the Pakistani cotton production and its growth and how we can increase the Pakistani cotton crop. So before I begin, I would like my panelists to give a brief introduction about themselves, and then we can move on. We'll start with you, sir.
Thank you very much. Shafique Ahmed. I'm Country Director for Better Cotton Initiative, and I'm responsible for BCI operation here in Pakistan and Central Asia. In Pakistan, we are working since 2010 on sustainable cotton production, and the second highest sustainable cotton is sourced from Pakistan in the form of better cotton. In Central Asia, we have very small operation only in Tajikistan and Kazakhstan, but we are working to start our program in other countries actually. Thank you.
Excellent. Sir.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Asif Ali, and I'm Vice Chancellor of Agriculture University there in Multan, which is basically the hub of cotton production in the South Punjab, and I am part of many forums on cotton production. And thank you very much for inviting me. And today, I would like to give you the farmer's perspective in this textile conference. Thank you.
I was introduced earlier, but just as a reminder, I am Ricky Clarke. I am with Cargill Cotton. My current responsibility is sales. I've been with Cargill since 1980 with Cotton, and also serving as a Vice President with Cotton Council International. I love U.S. cotton. It's great.
Sir.
My name is Mike Rodriguez, and I'm a technical consultant with CCI, and my background is in technical and technology, with having been with the 3 major machinery companies, and also a cotton background.
Yeah, I'm Roger Gilmartin. You know a little bit about my background, but just to flesh that out a little, in my 56-year career in the industry, I spent half that time running textile mills and textile companies, and half my time being a consultant. I've worked in over now 56 different countries around the world, and I've visited by now, at the end of this coming week, 3,400 different factories. So that's the basis of which I give my opinions today.
Excellent. So since we are talking on, this discussion is about the raw materials, so I would like to start with Richard, who is also the Vice President at Cargill, which is one of the largest commodity traders in the world. So my question to you is, since talking on the US cotton, you sell a lot of cotton in the world. Why spinners around the globe prefer US cotton? We have seen in presentations that it is good, but it has certain drawbacks as well. But why this US cotton is preferred, and we have seen in the numbers, Pakistani spinners have been buying more and more US cotton. So since who are not buying as of yet, why do you think they should be relying more on the US cotton? Why US cotton?
Well, I think with US cotton, it needs to be recognized. Number one, we are the largest within world trade. So by virtue of being the largest, that means that, for lack of a better way to say it, we are very important on all countries that have to import cotton. We have a long history of producing quality cotton and aggressively pursuing the technology, whether we're talking seed variety, seed quality, ginning, textile technical assistance to make it work for our customers all over the world. So with that push in mind of being the largest, it's recognized as being extremely important to our producers and importantly to our customers, our textile mill customers. I think that's part of the reason why U.S. cotton is successful and will continue to be successful because it is a major part of the business that we do, our agricultural business that we do out of the United States.
Can I add a little something to that?
Yeah.
As a manufacturer, whether I'm a spinner, a weaver, a knitter, a garment maker, what I want in my life is consistency. I don't want any surprises. I don't want to get a delivery of cotton that last week performed in this way and then next week performs that way. I want to have a consistent quality of cloth if I'm a garment manufacturer. And if I'm a retailer, I want to get delivered on time all the time. And when I talked about those common denominators in the supply chain, one of them was consistency. And I think that's what you get with US cotton. I'm not saying you never get any surprises, but I think you get less surprises than you do with other cottons from around the world. Perhaps the only one I would think, in my experience, that perhaps gives you an equal number of low surprises would be Australian cotton. But I think everybody else, you can look forward to an exciting life because you're going to get a lot of surprises.
And I agree with that. You see, coming back to the US cotton, in the yesteryears, all of us have been using the US cotton. We saw this contamination issue coming up in the US cotton like a couple of years ago. And that was raised at the proper levels with the CCI and with the merchants. And the good thing is, in this crop, which has just finished, that problem has almost diminished. So the thing is, yes, the reliability, the consistency is there in the US cotton. Yes, there are surprises, but very little. Now, before I move on to the Pakistani cotton, one more question, since a lot of industry people are here, that relates again to you, Ricky. We all know this US-China trade war. Nobody knows the answer to that, where it will end, because you can product a crop or weather, but you cannot product Mr. Trump. And the New York futures, on which the price of all the cottons are based, you as a commodity trader, what advice will you give to the people in this, who are attending this event? How do you see the New York futures reacting to the trade war?
There are no easy answers or no way to predict our trade war. The chart that I showed and what you see on the news of basically, whether we say in tweets or announcements from one government or the other, are making it very surprising. And as Roger said regarding quality, we don't like surprises. And the market has had surprises where there has been positive communications. We've seen firmness in the market. Where there's been negative communication, where there has been weakness in the market. I would say that I would be conservative on my thinking, and where the markets are allowing margins, anything, you should not speculate. I consider that speculating when you're doing things beyond a reasonable margin. So we will have a lot of news on the cotton markets in the next week. It's not happening now with the USDA August S&D numbers, which will be coming out next week, I believe. And there's still going to be a lot of communication regarding the trade issues. So I think we've seen the market fairly weak of late, but I think we'll be having a lot of new information coming into the market. So I can only say be conservative.
But in general, are you still bearish on the market?
Have I been bearish on the market?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't like to say I've been bearish. I don't like to say I've been bullish, because the market is right on the day. It is always right on the day, because there are people putting money in that think the market will go up, and there's just as many people putting money in that feel like the market will go down. And that equilibrium is called the price.
Yes.
So I have felt like that the price has been very fair where it is, and it's reflecting many things as it's come down. The trade issues, the very good conditions in the U.S. crop, and I will say the Brazilian crop is looking good. And there has been, with the turmoil that has been faced on the trade issues, I think that has had some further impact on economies, especially outside of the United States. So, but that can turn around with one message.
So you see, one more important question is, you see the cost of production. Now in the US, or in other countries, do you believe the farmer is hitting the cost of production, or it can go down?
In the United States, the cost of production, it varies from farmer to farmer, region to region, quite a bit, because you may have large, very efficient farmers that have easy access to, or have rain-fed supplies. They may have a lower cost of production. You have other areas that are very expensive, where they have to irrigate their cotton, and they are in a high-cost region. Many people, as a rule of thumb, a very rough rule of thumb, may consider 65 cents.
Yeah.
Many farmers may consider it 70 cents. So somewhere between 65 and 70 cents may be considered a very rough rule of thumb on cost of production in the United States. Brazil has a lower cost of production because they have such large farms, major efficiencies. So we are, generally speaking, below the cost of production.
So this means the farmer will now react to the further price drop, and we might not see the prices, physical prices, going further down. This is an important point, you see, because over here the merchants or the farmer may shift to other growths which are more profitable.
Yeah. And a farmer may be a very reluctant seller.
Yeah.
And so this cotton may not come on the market as quick as people would think.
Okay.
And it may cycle through the USDA CCC loan. These are all things that are not necessarily bearish. It may impact the basis or the physical futures price. So it's, you know, it's, some of the numbers may be construed as somewhat bearish,
Yeah.
but there are some factors out there that need to be recognized
Yes.
that are not bearish.
Okay. Thank you so much. My next question is to Roger. Roger, you spoke very good about the US cotton and we all love it, but as I said, there are certain things that are a problem for the US cotton. Like for instance, in US cotton, we have seen the NEPs to be really very high.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
The NEPs.
Oh,
the
yeah.
NEPs in the US cotton are on the higher side generally. And other than that, you can talk to any spinner, the spinning consistency index and at times the IPIs and everything drops when you're using the US cotton. So as per your study, what US cotton or
Well,
industry is doing?
I don't think it's just about the study. As I said, I visit a lot of mills, and when I go to visit mills, you hear a common theme about US cotton. You know, everybody talks to you about high short fiber content. Everybody talks to you or complains about maybe the IPI. People talk about maybe lower strength. I know, for example, in Bangladesh, all the knitters are looking for a CSP of around 2,400. You can struggle to do that with sometimes with US cotton. But what I've found in the last, 3 years as I've been working closer with US cotton is that in many of the mills that I go to visit, people really start off by not knowing what cotton to buy for the raw material that they're trying to spin. So I go and see mills where they're trying to spin everything from 10s to 40s using the same grade of cotton, and they're never going to achieve spinning 40s carded cotton with some of the cotton that they're buying. I also find that there is a lack of knowledge about the importance of bale laydown, about the importance of the conditioning of cotton, about the importance of regular process control. I mean, I went in a factory 3 weeks ago where in the testing laboratory, where they had both APHIS and HVI, I measured the temperature change in the laboratory from, in 31 minutes, the relative humidity changed by more than 15% in 31 minutes. When somebody shows me testing results that have been conducted in a lack of ambient control like that, I don't believe them. So I think one of the important things that the US cotton industry has to do, and which they are doing, is they are increasing the level of technical support that we're going to give to the customers. We started this program of more intense technical support last year. We hired a gentleman from Turkey who visited a number of mills in Pakistan and Bangladesh. Unfortunately, he passed away earlier this year, but we've now increased our team. We now have 4 people serving this region: Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Vietnam. We are in the process of hiring somebody in China, although maybe after today's announcement we might postpone the day that person starts. But Cotton U.S.A. have decided that if they are going to be selling more cotton, and particularly with the size of the crop Rich has talked about, we're going to have to sell a lot more cotton, then we're going to have to give people more support. We're going to have to help them to get the best out of what I believe is probably the best cotton you can use. So I think it's all about education and support.
I agree with you 100%.
I'd like to add to that point.
Yeah, sure, please.
So what Roger said, it's consistency, whether if it's in the blow room, to have more consistent of the machinery operating, the conditioning of the bales, having the next laydown ready, conditions being properly adjusted and set. Also in the card room, especially the maintenance, of the card wire and the flats, and also the settings on the card. Because if you see that NEP removal is a problem.
Yeah.
And testing the material in the laboratory, you know, with proper conditioning also, to be able to see, is it changing from card to card or in one line? Because you cannot expect it, especially like on the open end, for example, to be able for it to take care of all the problems.
Yeah.
So it's an education process, as Roger said, you know, that you have to supply the technical support, and that's what we're trying to do.
So with your experience with the Pakistani market, how do you see the spinners right now if you compare it to 10 years ago? Do you see this education being imparted to the people who are running the mills, since you look after the technical side?
Yeah, actually, this is Mike's first visit to,
Okay.
to Pakistan.
Oh.
So it's not that I like to hear myself talk, but I've been coming here a long time. I came here for the first time in the mid-70s, and all throughout the 90s and the early 2000s, I bought a lot of fabric in Pakistan, grey fabric and dyed fabric. So I've been coming a long time. I think what I see is now a lot of very good mills. Last time when I was here a year ago, I saw, I think, 3 mills. I try to kind of classify mills on a 1 to 10 grade. So if you're in the kind of 1 to 3 category, you may as well close the doors, give the keys back to the bank, and go home. Then you see a lot of mills in what I would call the 4, 5 to 8 category. And when you're in a 7 or an 8, you're a good mill. But the really great mills are in the 9s and the 10s, 8 plus. Of the 5 mills I saw here in Pakistan last year, I would say 2 were in the 8 to 10 category, and 3 were in the 6 to 7 category. And if I've got my math right, 1 was a place that I'll be very surprised if they're going to be in business in 5 years' time. This year, we've visited 1 mill so far. I thought it was an excellent mill. It really was. As a consultant, one of the things you look for all the time is what you call the low-hanging fruit. What are the changes you can make quickly? In this mill that we went to see, I couldn't see anything we could change quickly. So there are some very good mills here. I think one of the things that I would say, and not just in Pakistan, but throughout the region, cheap labor, labor that doesn't cost very much, is actually a curse. It's a curse because it makes management lazy. I've got too many stops in the ring frames, I'll put some more people on the ring frames. It makes people not look at the real problems and address the real problems. So if I've anything to say in a general way about advice to Pakistani mills, is you've got to start looking at your operations the way people in Europe and America have looked at their operations for decades. You can't afford people. Therefore, think about how you can run your mill without people. And that then means technical excellence.
Thank you very much, Roger. Now I'll move to Dr. Asif, since you're representing the farmer community and the Pakistani cotton. Now we all know that Pakistan is a consumer of about 15 million bales of Pakistani-sized bales cotton. And if I'm not wrong, in 2004, India and Pakistan were both producing 9 million bales.
Same.
India went up to 40.
You want some?
Now they're down to 30. Yeah. But why we are still at 10 million bales? What challenges you believe the Pakistani farmers are facing? And
Well, thank you very much. This subject is very close to my heart. I'm Vice Chancellor of a university which basically is located in an area where cotton is the mainstay. Before talking anything about cotton, let's understand the scenario with the word. Okay, in Pakistan, if you compare, across the world, we grow cotton as a double crop. We grow wheat and cotton both on the same piece of land. The other major important, the thing is that in the world, you talk about USA, you talk about Australia, you talk about Brazil, the average farmer holding who is growing cotton is more than 100 acres. And here we are less than 5 acres. The farmers have less than 5 acres, those who are growing cotton. The third important thing is that in Pakistan, we are growing cotton at the highest temperature as compared to other countries. The night and day temperature, they are highest. Okay, the question is very pertinent. I usually, I'm a teacher basically, and I teach cotton also. So we had been, and India is obviously our neighbor. We compare in India in many perspectives. So in, let's say, 90s, I think, India, or 2004-05, we were kind of comparable in terms of cotton production.
Yes.
But India has raised its area. The average yield of India is lesser than Pakistan. The per acre or per hectare lint yield is lower than Pakistan. But India from, let's say, 6 million acres has gone to 38 million acres of land in terms of, cotton production. The other thing is, which we did, we should have picked up the train at right time. In 2006-07, they were able to get the new technologies, which we could not until today. We develop our own indigenous technologies. The future is bright, but that was the major difference. Anyway, if we kind of categorize that, what are the major areas, what are the bottlenecks, where we can we touched about 14 or 15 million bales, but now we are struggling to 10, 11, 12 million bales. So if we look at the 10-year average, it is about 12 million bales, and now we have the target this year for 15 million bales. We could not achieve the target of the area, but the crop this year, the plant population is much better, and we are hoping we'll touch 15 million bales. And for that, we had to, sort of the upcoming, the future, if you talk about the future of cotton, we have very good varieties. The main three bottlenecks. One, seed research and seed production. This is the major important area where we need to plug in, bring in new technologies. Without that, we cannot go anywhere because of the fact that we have a mixed cropping season, mixed cropping areas, where sugarcane, cotton, maize, they are all growing, all across. So we have a complex of insects and unable to manage it without having the new technologies. The other thing is the crop production itself. So we have soil sustainability is one of the major issues here. We are growing exhaustive crops, crop after crop. The growing population has a pressure of food and fiber and everything. So we are kind of less waste. Then we have a challenge of climate change. The temperature is increasing. We have in the crop production the challenge of water. Water is becoming shorter day by day. So, but apart from all these things, we have some post-harvest problems also, which are directly related to you. So, you want to ask anything?
Speaking about the future, we all know that this Monsanto company
Your
is in
mic's
Pakistan.
not working.
Not working? Hello. So we all know this Monsanto company is in Pakistan for the last so many years. Why we cannot make an agreement with them? And
I think we should ask this question to the textile mill owners, because they are the major stakeholders.
Okay.
They should have invested into the cotton production. If we have a good cotton produced here in Pakistan, then they can make money out of it. If you compare, for example, for 1 million bales produced, the Pakistani textile or the whole industry, the longest value chain, they are earning $1 billion US per year. And if you compare it with China and Bangladesh, they are making money 3 to 4 billion US dollars per year. So there are, kind of inefficiencies, but yes, we have now developed our own indigenous genes. Will be, the varieties are in process, or inshallah will make a difference. The third part I wanted to focus more on that is post-harvest. The contaminated cotton. We have labor issues in picking because of the climate change. The cotton has shifted where the pickers The laborers, we do not have any mechanical pickers yet. So they are picking in hot weather, which has become a challenge. You were talking about the cheap labor. Now the labor is not available to agriculture because there is no decent work in agriculture. So we have now developed for weed management, yes, we have a gene. We will manage it through herbicides, but for picking, we have to move towards mechanical picking. And the other thing is that the cotton farmers have shifted to other crops, and this is their right, because they are getting more profit into other crops. So we have to give the farmers the right kind of incentive so that they grow cotton, and they can grow very good cotton, I tell you, very clean, very sort of, Dr. Shafique is sitting here, he is working on clean, better cotton initiative, he'll tell you the story. The farmers are very hardworking, the people are ready to work, the people love, because from the region I'm coming, people love cotton, because this is a cash crop, and they can instantly make money out of it, but they are not getting the kind of profitability as compared to, for example, corn or rice. So they have started shifting. If I have, a few more minutes.
Yes.
Okay. So we did in Khanewal, for example. Khanewal had been the hub. Khanewal is a district. Had been a hub of cotton production. Now the production, the people are not ready to plant cotton there. So we did a survey, a very comprehensive survey. My professor of economics is sitting here. So, we analyzed there are 4 factors which are hampering cotton production. And they are equally important, equally. One is the lack of advisory. The second is the quality of the inputs, which include seed and pesticide. The third is the availability of credit, and very importantly, the marketing. People are ready to pick contamination-free cotton, but they have to have some incentive for that clean cotton. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. I'll move to Dr. Shafique. Dr. Saab, I have a couple of questions for you. The first one is why it is important for the textile industry to consider valuable options like the BCI.
Okay.
And the other one is what the industry at the moment can do to increase the awareness about the sustainability and all, and why it is important.
Yeah, why people should look for the sustainable cotton. Looking at the resources, natural resources are not unlimited. And taking care of our responsibility, if we have some resources, we need to think for the future generation. Are we leaving at least the same resources for the future generation? If not, so we will say that we are dishonest. Second thing, we have to safeguard the future of the cotton production as well. If there are no resources, how we can produce cotton? So that increase the needs of the sustainability, not only in this field of cotton, in everywhere, in each field, in industry. Same is for cotton, as mentioned by Dr. Asif, that water is getting scarce and scarce in Pakistan. If we don't have enough water, so we have only one option, that we have water efficient techniques or water efficient crop. So we can grow the same with less use of water. Similar to this other environmental condition, climate change. So we need to change our production technology. It should be more sustainable, both in terms of we minimize the footprint, we minimize the negative impacts of cotton production, we care for the future generation, and we safeguard the future of the cotton sector. So sustainability is very much needed for that.
And you see, we all know that Pakistan produces a lot of PCI cotton. So the farmer here is well educated, and people are trying very hard to ensure that they use the better techniques and better practices and grow more and more and good cotton. So thank you very much. This was a very nice discussion. Now I open the house for any questions if anyone has for 5 minutes that we have. So any questions, sir, please.
I am Dr. Sarwar Rana, textile technologist. I would like to ask first, for any comparison we take into account Indians' practices. India has gone from 28 millimeter to 39 or 40 millimeter staple length. For the last 50 years, Pakistan Cotton Committee or Pakistan Agriculture, they are, I don't know whether they are doing something or not, but so far they have not achieved to increase the staple length of our cotton. Rather, it has gone down from 28 to 26 or 25. Can you comment, Dr.
Well, thank you very much. Should I?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a very relevant question. The one of the thing which I mentioned is the temperature. The quality essentially relates to the temperature, number one. Number two is we do have now varieties coming up and in the pipeline which goes to 30 millimeter. But do we have any mechanism? You are all sitting, you are a kind of stakeholders buyer, where we pay incentive to the higher staple length. The people are ready. The people are ready to produce, contamination-free cotton. But yes, we are comparable. We can compare ourselves very well in terms of quality with Indian cotton, and there is a potential. There are now varieties I know which have GOT more than 40% and staple to more than 30. Thank you.
So should we wait for another 2-3 years to see this 30 millimeter cotton?
Sure, within a couple of years. The new varieties which are approved by this seed council this year, they have usually 29-30 millimeter staple length.
So the future seems bright.
Yeah. I will just add to Dr. Asif that it's not only definitely the most important is genetic material, but technology always affect its quality. I mean, just like if you are talking about the precision agriculture, it applies what is needed at when it is needed. But if you look at our farmers, they don't have that technology. They may be applying more water, but is it really at proper time and in proper dose? So this is very important that if we adopt technology, that will also support our quality as well as quantity.
Any other question, please?
There are two questions.
Yeah, please.
First one is that when you see the supply chain from raw material to the finished goods, we see that the ginning is the most weakest link. So what steps are being taken that the spinning owners, they should take interest into the ginning sector for its improvement? And the second question is related to the quality of cotton. In 2005 or 7, I remember we have a staple of 1.07 or 1.08, which has now dropped down to 1.06 or so. So what steps are taken to improve the seed of the cotton so we can improve the quality? And the last question is related to the ginning sector of Miyawali. We can see the same quality of cotton grown in Pakistan, but the Miyawali has always better staple and strength. What are the reasons and causes there? Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. If I could get, right. The first question about ginning, I believe from cotton production perspective, the major stakeholders are farmers and then ginners. If within country the cotton is not produced, the ginner are getting most affected because the farmers have alternatives, but ginners don't. But unfortunately, we do not see any significant improvement in terms of efficiency in ginning. There was a plan to establish a ginning research institute at Multan through PCCC, which gets its funds from APTMA as a kind of cess, but it's not still, it's not there. There are efficiencies. We must admit this fact. The other questions were about production. Yes, the production was 2004-05. We were 15 million bales. Was that the question?
Quality, staple line.
It has gone down. Yes, I agree. This is very good. This is a complex question. The question is we have a great degree of deterioration in overall cotton production system. Let's admit the fact. And that has happened because of, number one, there was no foreign investment, plant bidder rights were not there. The international companies, they were not ready to invest into cotton. We did not have any kind of, we had weaknesses in Seed Act. And because of that, there was a huge mess in the seed supply chain. There were varieties, but they were kind of immature and seed mafia and whatnot. So that has been a complex subject. But for the last 2 years, there is some sanctity coming in the seed production and seed research system. The seed, for example, if we talk about this year, we have about 1,000 higher plants per acre this year. Usually we do get 14,000 plants per acre now, but this year we are touching about 6,000 plants per acre, which means there is some salinity coming in the seed system. So there was a flaw, but things are improving now. There are private seed companies coming up, public seed companies coming up, and the seed is getting improved.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. One last question which I would like to ask Roger and my panelists there, that in these harsher times, what advice would you like to give the Pakistani spinners regarding how to survive in this era? It's too much volatility in pricing and all. One word of advice for the Pakistani spinners.
I can never say anything in one word. I would say the thing I would like to say to people in manufacturing, and whether it's spinning or anything, it's pay attention to the details. When somebody tells me, as Mike had alluded to before, when somebody tells me that on the cards the average net removal efficiency is 80% and they're happy with that, but then when I look at the individual cards, they have a range of from 60 to 90, I'm not happy with that. Too many people, I think, are happy looking at averages and not looking at the detail. It's all about, if you want to go from being a 6 or a 7 to a 9 or a 10, it's all about attention to detail.
Perfect. You would like to add something to it, sir?
I'll add to that also. Having worked with a lot of the mills in the U.S. especially, I've basically worked with all of them. In Canada, in the United States, and in Mexico, and Central America, and South America. But especially in the U.S. where they do have a lower cost of production for the yarn. And the thing that they do is they have to manifest all their people to be consistent and efficient on the jobs. Not having too many people over here or too many people over there. And yes, it's hard for me to see sometimes when you see a certain department, whether if it's spinning, whether if it's ring or rotor spinning, or in the winding, or in the draw frames, or in the card room. You have to have people, you know, working like that. And you have to keep up with the technology and especially maintenance of the equipment. Because if you let it go down, it's hard to catch back up.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks for bearing us, and I hope you enjoyed. Okay.
Last question.
Please.
Yep.
Well, my question is to Dr. Asif,
Yeah.
the Vice Chancellor of Agriculture University.
Well, thank you.
Dr. Saab, do you have any benchmarking? We have heard from our friends. They have different brands. They have got the benchmarking system. They have gone up to 2024, and they have projections. I'm sorry, we don't have any projection. We don't have any benchmarking system. We don't have any quality standard. We are growing cotton, which is the dirtiest cotton in the world. India has gone far ahead. Indian yield is more than 90%. Our yield is around 80%. Our economy is finished. What the hell is going on? What sort of research is going on? We are absolutely disappointed. There is no, the cotton is coming from various areas. Cotton, there is no identification. There is, nobody bothers to have a better quality of cotton, to have a better staple length, better micronair. We are only concerned with the production. So unless and until, sir, there is a guidance, our farmers are doing their best. But they need a help, a guidance. What your agriculture department is doing. They are just sitting in the offices. There was a time they used to go to the field. They used to do the scouting. They used to help everybody. But nowadays, nobody is bothered. So my question to you is, do you have any future planning for the betterment of quality? You forgot about the quantity. Quantity is fluctuation, going to the top and coming down. We don't have any control, but we must try to help the farmer to maintain the quality. Our textile industry is sinking. I tell you, we are spending much higher value to import the cotton from India. India is the same thing, same nation. You say that we have a hot weather. India has got equally hot weather. So please, my question to you is, what is our future planning?
Thank you very much. Is there any mechanism to pay incentive to the clean cotton? If there is, yes. The farmers are ready. If the spinners are ready to pay that price, yes, it is possible. The other thing is, there are standards, sir, for variety approval system. There are quality standards. Below that standards, the variety cannot be improved. But you know, again, there is a, if you want to get more, you know, if you look at the parity price, the contaminated cotton gets the same price as the clean cotton is. If there are any mechanism, yes, I can assure you, you can get clean cotton without zero contamination. According to the Cotton Act,
Yes.
Within that premises, yes, this is possible, but we have to create a mechanism where the dirtier cotton get low price and the better cotton get better
Thank you,
price.
Dr. Saab. And thank you, everyone.